Good afternoon. Polly, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you tell her yes, Michael, please?
Yes.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call the October 15th Planning Commission meeting to order. Confirmation of posting and roll call.
Thank you. The agenda was posted in accordance to Nevada open meeting law. All members are present with the exception of Chairman McDonald, who is absent, and Member Crum, who's participating via teleconference.
Thank you. If everybody could please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item is public comment. This public comment period is limited to matters on the agenda for action. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. I will now open the public comment period. You may also call in to 702-589-9629 for this public comment period. Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the
Sorry, we
public.
have somebody.
I apologize.
Hello, my name is Aaron Meadow. I am not in support of the change of use in the rezone, essentially the storage facility going into this property. The reason why is because it's, to my knowledge, it doesn't comply with the CCNRs of the property. Obviously, it's not allowed in the C2 zone. Will not promote any further retail of the shopping center, so it's going to hurt those other businesses in the complex. It does not allow to attract a potential big box because the train museum hasn't opened. As soon as the train museum opens, it will attract more people. And ultimately, the problem with the property is the deed restrictions. It's not finding an occupant for a large big box. So the problem is the owner of the property and the deed restrictions they imposed. And I believe there's other legal merit to why that shouldn't be allowed, and I can discuss that off the record. However, it shouldn't. It's my opinion that it shouldn't be allowed to move forward because that's going to ruin that complex for retail. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meadow. Any other public comment? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public comment period and move on to item number 1, approval of the minutes of the September 17th, 2025 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 for possible action is matters pertaining to approximately 2.96 acres in the C2 General Commercial Zone located at 1031 Boulder City Parkway. Staff?
Good evening. Thank you, Vice Chair Crum. Good evening, members of the Commission. Nikisha Lyons, City Planner with the Community Development Department. So before you tonight, as Vice Chair Crum just stated, this is consideration of 3 conditional use permit applications that pertain to approximately 2.96 acres located at 1031 Boulder City Parkway, which is southwest of the intersection of Boulder City Parkway / Buchanan Boulevard and Nevada Way, which is shown on the screen in the location map. The applicant is proposing to redevelop the site. This is to accommodate a climate-controlled storage facility for boats, RVs, and classic cars within the existing 46,750 square foot building. This facility would include retail and concierge services, essentially to enhance the lake lifestyle experience, such as gear storage, showers, restrooms, a snack area, and a small pro shop. The applicant would also like to construct a full-service car wash that's on the northeastern portion of the subject property in the parking lot, as well as to allow for an outdoor display area in a portion of the existing parking lot. This is to accommodate the sale of automobiles and RVs. The existing building and parking lot, it's a component of a larger shopping center and was most recently a human milk collection and processing center. That's what the building was used for. Prior to that, it was formerly a grocery store. So their intent is to create a one-stop facility where customers can essentially store, clean, and sell their cars, boats, and RVs in one centralized location. The subject property is Zone C2 for general commercial zone, and as these uses are conditionally permitted, each use must be considered and separately approved by this commission in order for them to use the site as they would like to. The justification narrative, conceptual use summary, and a site plan that they provided that's associated with this request, that's been included in the commission packet that starts on page 45. Per city code, the commission must evaluate each application that's based on several factors to ensure that the proposed uses align with adjacent uses and structures and will not be detrimental to the health, safety, morals, and the general welfare of the city. The 5 criteria are outlined in this section for consideration by the commission, and at minimum, they must be found to be satisfactory as it applies to each of the conditional use permits. So this includes consistency with the master plan and the future land use map, compatibility with the adjacent uses and the character of the area, insurance that the design is not, again, detrimental to the health, safety, and general welfare of the city, nor will the uses create any nuisances for the abutting property owners and tenants, and then that there's adequate public facilities to serve the uses. So further details regarding conformance with each of the criterion, that's based on the applicant's response and staff's analysis, that's provided to you in the agenda packet that starts on page 31 and goes to page 36. Just to quickly summarize from my analysis, the subject property's master plan future land use designation is community commercial, which is similar to the majority of the properties that are within this area. The proposed uses are consistent with providing a range of commercial uses to serve the community, which vary in scale and character, is located along a major or main thoroughfare, and is appropriate in size for this type of use. The subject property is surrounded predominantly by other commercial uses that are Zone C2 or CM, which is commercial manufacturing. The proposed uses are compatible with the adjacent land uses within this vicinity, so that includes restaurants, general retail, a future museum, auto repair, and other commercial uses, and has limited impacts to the existing residential uses that are near the area. The site is fully developed, and it has been for quite some time, and so again, as I've previously mentioned, it was used as a grocery store, and then most recently, back in 2018, it was a human milk collecting, testing, processing, and distribution center. Future renovations and improvements impacting the building layout, which includes the height and bulk, lighting, landscaping and screening, parking, ingress and egress to the site, loading facilities, and waste disposal. Those shall be designed to not be materially detrimental to the uses and the properties in the immediate vicinity. Those design and siting specifications, those all must conform with applicable zoning, public works, building, and fire codes. And those will be evaluated during the appropriate building permitting processes that would come later on if these were to be approved. This request does not present concerns in regards to noise, odor, traffic, or nuisances to the surrounding properties. Each attached resolution notes that should there be any unresolved complaints in regards to any nuisances, a new public hearing as well as possible revocation of the conditional use permits can be required. The building department, utilities department, fire department, and our public works department, they've all reviewed the proposed request, the drawings and materials that have been provided by the applicant. So staff has associated conditions with each of these uses based on those reviewers' comments. So starting with the proposed car wash use, this use is subject to further evaluation by our public works department through the submittal and approval of detailed improvement plans. Those will include any proposed utility connections for water, sewer, and storm drainage, and that's to ensure that these are appropriately designed and they do not negatively impact any city infrastructure. Additionally, the applicant must install a sand oil separator for the functionality of the car wash use, and this is to prevent contaminants like oil and sediments from entering into the public sewer system. As the car wash use will involve new construction of a building and the applicant is located within 2 miles of our municipal airport, they must go through the appropriate processes with the Federal Aviation Administration to ensure that if there are any impacts, that they're able to mitigate those when they're constructing the new car wash facility, if approved. For the proposed storage facility, this use is subject to further evaluation by our fire department as well as our building department through the submittal and acceptance of a third-party fire protection report. And so this report specifically addresses the feasibility of the proposed storage use, including any required building construction standards and fire suppression systems, as well as they would need to provide detailed information in regards to the types and quantities of materials that are going to be stored within the facility to determine the change of occupancy classification that will occur for the building. So final approval of the conditional use is contingent upon the appropriate fire suppression and fire construction upgrades, and then confirmation that the proposed occupancy classification change is appropriate for the facility and the location. The commission has the option to approve modifications to these requests if they deem necessary, and the application was noticed in accordance with state law. We've received one written public comment that was received earlier today that's been provided to you all. This was against, so in opposition of the outdoor sales and display area for new and used car and RV sales. And so with that, the Community Development Department respectfully requests that the commission conducts the public hearing and considers the 3 conditional use permits, and then makes a motion to either approve subject to conditions or deny based on staff's findings, as noted in the staff report and then each of the separate resolutions. Staff is available for any questions that the commission may have. The applicant is in attendance tonight, and they can answer any other questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikisha. I will bring it back to the commission for any questions for staff or the applicant.
Hi, this is Beth. I have a question. Regarding potential deed restrictions, would that have any impact on anything we do tonight, or that's not our problem?
That's not something that the city regulates.
Thank you. In relation to the retail space as a whole for that plaza, would this variance just specifically be for the lot outlined?
Yeah, so the
Portion
conditional use permits, any that you guys do approve tonight, that's specific to the lot that was outlined.
Would the applicant be required to have specific environmental insurance related to the car wash?
Don't know the answer to that question, but obviously any approvals that are required will be necessary before we can issue any building permits for that use.
Thank you. I'm good, thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the commission?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
So per Title 11, Chapter 30-3, it's consideration by the commission, A2, that the use will be designed, constructed, and operated so as to be compatible with the adjacent use of land. The existing or planned character of the general vicinity and the natural environment. Boulder City has made commendable strides to enhance the visual and cultural appeal of this main intersection where Boulder City Parkway, Nevada Way, Buchanan Boulevard converge. The monument sign welcoming visitors to the historical district, along with the impressive new State Museum under construction on the opposite corner, reflect a clear commitment to preserve and celebrate the city's heritage and aesthetic values. Introducing the use that conflicts with this vision would undermine the cohesive character of the area. In my view, the proposed development does not align with the surrounding land use of the city's long-term planning goals for this prominent gateway. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Nikisha, I have a couple questions, please.
Go ahead.
So I see on our recommendations in the packet, there's not a, I mean, I know we can modify this at our discretion, but it's, how does it work procedurally if, as this project moves forward and staff discovers there might be an issue with ingress, egress, or the fire department has an issue, would it come back to the planning commission for reconsideration, or it just fails?
With respect to the Planning Commission's consideration tonight, you're looking at the appropriateness of the uses. If there needed to be minor modifications at the staff level, that could be done without having to come back. But staff would bring it back if it results in major changes to what is being represented in terms of layout and access that might impact the Planning Commission's consideration. So that would be staff having it come back before the commission in that instance.
Thank you, Michael. I do have concerns about ingress and egress and people pulling big boats or recreational vehicles off of that property. Currently, there's only two ways to get out, and one is turning right down Buchanan, which would lead those types of vehicles and traffic into a residential area that's in the process of building another 100 and some plus homes. It's where kids cross to go to school. And also, the other way out would be right onto Nevada Highway, which is on a good day, very busy, and would be very difficult to get out. And in addition to that, they'd have to stay in the right lane, which takes all of those RV recreational vehicles through downtown, because they would not have the space or time to move over to the left lane and go down the highway, like to the lake, let's say. So I mean, I don't think that this is the highest and best use of this piece of property. I think this is, I mean, very unfortunate, in my opinion. And so I guess we'll just evaluate these one by one. I'll take these one at a time. Before I open the public hearing, just a last chance for anybody to have any comments or questions for the staff or applicant. Okay, hearing and seeing none, I will open the public hearing on the applications for conditional use permits.
Hi, Vice Chair Crum and Commissioners. My name is Randy Black Jr. I'm the applicant. My address is 11825 Boulder Highway 89161. A little family history here. We've been in this valley since the early 40s. My grandfather actually had Boulder Dam cargo and freight commission service. So our family's been around here since the 40s. This isn't anything that we take lightly. It's my backyard too. Grew up playing high school against the Eagles, not for the Eagles, but really couldn't have my own choice of where I lived at that point. All valid concerns on this piece of real estate. We all remember it, or at least I do, as a Lucky's and a Vaughn's, and now it's been the breast milk collection facilities. And we have dealt with Kroger for quite some time, initially trying to get a secondary grocery store, which is what the community wants. We dealt with Natural Grocers on the property we own across the street from this, which is the vacant 10 acres that maybe everybody doesn't know at University and Buren over there. And it's just a very difficult property. So I hear a lot of the things. I don't disagree that traffic studies and whatnot are a valid concern. We probably don't, at the point that we made this application, we thought RVs were going to be a bigger component of this, dealing with the structure of this building from the 60s, the glue-lam clear span beams that have a lot of support in there structurally. There's not a lot of clearance for anything other than probably wakeboard boats and pleasure boats, not even big like 40-foot cigarette style boats. So part of the amendment that Nikisha helped us with, and Michael did too, on this request was we heard the concerns. We were paying attention to the social media with the reports and whatnot for the city. We heard the concerns about storage. Do we need storage? Being that we're making a pretty large investment in here, we did a lot of marketing or a lot of market research on data for the storage facilities. You guys are pretty much full in every storage facility, and there is no climate-controlled storage facility to speak of that's available. So the demand is there, without a doubt. As far as ingress and egress out of the center, I'd have to double check, but I count 5 points of ingress and egress. And our traffic circulation plan calls for staging, understanding peak hours, the proximity to the lake on what we're doing, understand boats being the major component. RVs probably go away for storage for the most part, unless they're small units that we can fit in and out of there. And collector cars and maybe even some side-by-sides. Something of this nature to generate enough revenue to support. Along with that, there's no service. There is a detailing operation. It was the intent. We've dealt with Jeff Klein, who's the Capriati's across the street, a lot of local vendors to try to establish some facilities to where you could call up and say, hey, I'm coming out with the kids on Saturday morning. Can the boat be loaded with Pop's Ice sandwiches, snacks, and goodies? That's part of the service side of it. So that is a retail operation. With a pro shop, you know, your gloves, your wakeboards, your tow ropes, floaties, life jackets, sunscreens, all of those type of service items that are necessary to accommodate a trip to the lake. So we feel like we've kind of morphed this thing a little bit. I thought it was good for you guys to kind of understand storage is a component of it. We are also looking at retail sales of the higher end wakeboard boats and maybe some collector cars. That's just to take some advantage and utilization of the 2 acres out front that otherwise is just a vacant parking field or maybe some staging area. Car wash, we heard that everybody was interested in that component for the community, and clearly oil and sand separators and water conservative kind of applications for the equipment that's placed in there. They've gotten pretty good with that. That's not anything that we have our hearts super set on. It could be a good addition if the community would use it and it doesn't conflict too much with some of the traffic. But at the point we were trying to figure out how to make something work on this site with that big of a building, it's kind of let's take an approach at a lot of different items to try to stack them there to make it economically feasible. We have talked to Tractor Supply, we've talked to your big box users, we've heard the ideas of indoor pet parks, you know, some of these things that theoretically sound great, but we don't have a population density to support. Not a realistic, that's theory versus reality. And there's no easy answer there. It's a very antiquated building. It's got the separation issues. It does have, oddly enough, really good infrastructure for fire and power. And it was built like they used to build it back in the day. So structurally, it's kind of a bomb shelter. But those things, I think it's good to have some clarity from the board for the community and for the community itself. This is morphed into a bit of a hybrid for some sales to support the economics, some storage to supply the demand, and then some upgraded facilities for some higher end use for those people that maybe have a few extra bucks to go spend on the concierge service and get the boat prepped before and after their departure. Traffic would be a big concern. Public fire and safety is a big concern. Commissioner Smith, I might debate with you that it's not proper for that corner because now we would have planes, trains, and automobiles over there for the most part. And it's not a low-end storage operation, so I could see the concern there, but at the point where we're providing concierge and service, some retail operations, and maybe some sales in support of that, it's a little different animal than just a standard storage unit. So I think that would warrant a little consideration and asset of you, and we're open to any suggestions. We've scratched our head a lot on this piece of property and talked to literally every other component in town that might be a user. The deed restriction is for grocery. That is what I think the gentleman's referring to, and that's going to be put on there by Kroger, period. We've already fought that fight with them. In fact, we tried to put the other build from scratch grocery store on the other corner with Smith's that we own, and Smith's came in, did a market survey and said it won't support another national grocer, but the boutique stuff has still got some potential. So that hopefully answers the question on the secondary grocer for the community, and I'm here for any other questions you might have.
Lou, I have a question.
Go ahead, Beth.
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Black.
Thank you.
Related to that deed restriction, so if it's for grocery, how are you getting around that?
It's restricted to floor space of 2,500 feet. Yeah, so we can do groceries like sandwiches, chips, things of that you would utilize for a weekend at the lake.
So that meets the deed restriction?
That qualifies within the restriction of what Kroger's placing on us, correct?
Okay, and 2,500 is the square footage?
Let me verify that. It's a small percentage of square footage that we're allowed to dedicate to that sales. It might be 1,500. We can supply that to you.
What, do you know yet your square footage for the retail space, what you plan to do?
So this is a little bit of cart and horse. Normally, we're a lot more prepared, but with the age of that building and having to figure out first and foremost the fire with the vehicles and the materials that we're storing in there and fuel tanks, and it's a fire issue for sure. We're having to figure out the structural and the fire before we could figure out where the layout is optimized for those different dimensions of uses. It'll be in the front though. So if you've looked in there from when it was the last facility, which was bizarre, but we toured that, it's in the front where they had kind of the clean room looking office component. So it'd be in the storefront where it makes sense.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
I have a question for the applicant.
Go ahead.
So the vehicles that are going into this facility, how are they getting in and out of this facility? Are you taking the responsibility, taking it indoor, or are you allowing the customer to take their vehicle or their boat inside by themselves?
No, we'll pull them in and out. There'll be a staging area. There'll be two big doors that are going in the front, so there'll be a new entrance. And then we use things called sleds, kind of like the same thing you use for an airplane. And they park them in a loading area and don't touch them from there. We load them. We are unloading and loading the vehicles with our own staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I correct that the car wash will not be open to the public? It will be just for your customers?
No, we were proposing the car wash for the community and our vehicles. So it would be public if we can make sure it complies with all of the environmental staging. The bigger concern on that, Commissioner, is the ingress, egress, and the traffic conflict points that are there. So being that we inherited the layout of a site, that was something that we heard. Our preference would actually be to, I don't know, how can I point to? Can you go to that site plan that you had, Keisha?
Yeah, Holly's gonna pull it up.
Yep. So if you see the lattice work that's on this
You
side,
have to stay at the microphone.
Because I can't hear
we can see you though.
can you see the lattice? If you go on the north side of the building, on the highway frontage, do you see the beams that are kind of open to the? It's the old truck well loading area. You probably all know it. That was what we originally intended to be the detail area for the vehicles that would be utilizing the facilities. But as we talked to some of our friends that were born and raised here, they went, we don't have a car wash. Can you maybe fit a car wash on that weird piece that's next to the 7-Eleven? So that's where that thought came as a use. And honestly, this is more of a discussion about the use, as Michael stated earlier, than it is the pure functionality where I could prove to you why these concerns are being mitigated or addressed so that they wouldn't be conflict points.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Is there any other, this is a public hearing. Is there any other Any other members of the public that wish to speak in this public hearing?
Thank you, council members.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Ed Cox. I'm a resident of Boulder City, and I'm an RV owner. And first, I want to address what the previous gentleman before, Randy, said about not being compatible with the rest of the businesses in the complex. I don't know what else would be compatible except a humongous restaurant. But this particular proposal would attract a lot of traffic to that very complex so that the current residents of that complex, the residences, the stores, etc., would benefit from it because people would come with their boats, their RVs, they need to buy things. And the second thing, the car wash, as an RV owner, there is no place to get my RV washed. It won't fit in a car wash. So I've managed to wash it myself. And believe me, if I could pay somebody a little bit of money to run it through a car wash, I'd be more than happy to do it. And every RV owner that had one in Boulder City, and every RV that came down that road going to the lake, they'd love to have a car wash for their RVs. So it would be a benefit to the whole complex if we had a car wash there. Now, as to the traffic problem, I can understand that. As an RV owner, sometimes it's difficult to go where you want to go because the streets aren't made for them. But exiting this particular parcel onto Buchanan, if I was leaving town, I would simply turn right, go down to where the street ends at the golf course, turn right, then turn left, and I'd be gone. Easy to get out of there and easy to get back in the same way. Now, if you want to go down to the lake, you're going to have to make a turn and then a turn down to go toward the lake. But what you're going to find, most people are going to not go that way. It's the boaters that need to go that way. They'll get their boat out of storage and they'll, just as any other car, they'd pull out of that parking lot onto the highway and carefully make a right turn, then a left turn. Or they can go straight through on Nevada Way down that way. The same way people have been going for as long as there's been a lake. So yes, there's a bit of a traffic impact, but we allow 18-wheelers go down that way and every other vehicle that's possible to get on the road. So it might cause a little bit of a problem, but any good RV owner knows that he's got a big vehicle and he's got to be careful. So I don't see that the traffic impact is going to be a big issue at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. This is a public hearing. Those people who are online may call in for 702-589-9629. Go ahead, Mr. Meadow.
This is Aaron Meadow. I don't know if anybody knows my background or who I am, but I personally have hundreds of hours at the very minimum of redevelopment of this actual site. So I know, I've read pretty much every piece of literature on record, and I'm very, very familiar with the site. So when I say something, I hope you can take it with more, with that knowledge. I have walked this site with the fire department, and at the time, I was not allowed to store any vehicles on site. I know that that could be changed with different sprinkler calculations, but at that time, it just wasn't going to happen. And if it was going to happen, I have to empty all the fluids and all the gasoline and everything else. It was a problem with that site and the fire department. Additionally, there are better uses to this property on a redevelopment aspect. I really think that if we were a little bit more patient, or if the owner or whoever the man is here today was open to looking at other options, I think there could be a better feasible option for the city that would give us all what we want and equal a better return on investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission. As I mentioned, does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, we'll take these one at a time. The first one is Resolution 1271, a resolution of the Planning Commission of Boulder City approving CU 25284 for a conditional use permit to allow automobile laundries except self-service, provided that any steam cleaning shall be confided to a completely enclosed building. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution number 1271, which includes findings and conditions for approval of CU-25-284.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
Aye.
The motion passes. Item number 2C, Resolution 1272 of the Planning Commission approving CU 25285, an application for a conditional use permit to allow mini storage facilities pursuant to Section 111141 of the City Code. Do I have a motion for Resolution 1272?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 1272, including the findings and conditions for approval of CU 25285.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. And the final is item number 2D, Resolution 1273, a resolution of the Planning Commission approving CU 25-286 for a conditional use permit to allow outdoor sales display areas, including new and used automobile sales, car, and RV. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 1273, which includes the findings and conditions for approval of CU 25-286.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you. That leads us to item number 3, monthly progress report on development allotments. Nikisha?
Thank you, Vice Chair Crum. So in regards to the Track 350 allotment application that was recently before the commission, so again, this is 30 residential allotments, each for construction year 24-25, 25-26, so 16 total, and then 30 reservations for construction year 26-27. So that was reviewed and rated by the allotment committee on September 29th. They gave it a rating of 75.1304%. And so the City Council will be considering approval of this application on October 28th. Thank you.
Thank you. That leads us to our final public comment period, which can be on any topic. I will open up the final public comment period. Those watching may call in at 702-589-9629. Any final public comment? Seeing and hearing none, meeting adjourned.